Before I head off, just a small presentation, just an introduction. As said, I'm the IT and BIM and ICT manager in Femern. To be fair, I'm not alone. We have a small team dealing with all the kind of requirements that we are setting for our contractors on this project. We have also a number of consultants attached to the project to help us out doing this job. It's quite a significant project, but I will go into more detail in a minute on that part. I have a significant amount of numbers in the business. I won't reveal how many, but some of my prior jobs that I've been working on, or projects I've been working on, is prior to coming to Fehmarn Belt, is the metro project in Doha, major project on that part, and also a metro project in Tel Aviv in Israel before that. Now, why IFC? I have chosen to take another approach here, looking in from an organization, a company that is doing a running project right now. Why do we find IFC important for us? This presentation will be on a more strategic level, hence the subtitle on how does this fit in our company's strategy. We are so lucky, so we already have a mandate, an IFC mandate, an ICT mandate. But one thing is to have a mandate, you also have to live it out in your company. How do you do that, and how does that fit in? So I'll come a little bit back to that. Just to set the scene and telling you who we are, Fehmarn AS is a subsidiary to our mothership company, Fehmarn Belt. For some legal commercial reasons, it was decided to build, you could say, an internal entity within Fehmarn Belt for handling the Fehmarn project. But it is a fully 100% public and state-owned company, and we have some requirements that we need to live up to that come from the Danish government. So it's under the Transport Ministry in Denmark. The Fehmarn Belt value chain gives you an idea of where we fit in. We have in Fehmarn Belt a strategy for how we want to run our projects. There are some pre-phases before we actually go into the construction phase. For the Fehmarn Belt, we are right here in the construction phase. And of course, we in the end want to operate and maintain our facilities. We have some other larger infrastructure facilities like bridges and tunnels. And this is our main objective, and this is our main income to run and maintain these facilities. Now, why a fixed link? Somebody came up with a good idea. We think we need to connect to Europe, so let's build something down here to connect to the rest of Europe. Right before that, it was a huge detour here in the rest of Denmark, but it made sense to create a faster link into to the rest of Europe. And it was decided. It has been a long process in getting to actually start this project. And as you can see, there are some advantages going through this shortcut into Europe. It gave you could say, a commitment from not only the Denmark side, but also for the northern parts of Scandinavia, like Sweden, like Norway. A little bit about the connection itself. We have 18 kilometers of immersed tunnel. Actually, as it says, it's the world's longest immersed tunnel. So far, maybe somebody will take over before we are done in 29. That's the plan, that we still have to finish in 29. And a little bit about some key figures on how big this actually is for us. It's quite a substantial project that requires a lot of resources and a lot of requirements and documentation and information. A little bit more about the tunnel elements itself. So they are going to be precast in a huge factory that has been built for the purpose, and they are then going to be shipped out to the right position, and then they are going to be lowered down or emerged to the seabed and connected through there. And they will actually start from each end, from the German side and the Danish side, and then it will connect in the middle. So it's quite a significant and huge scale project, and some huge elements that needs to be dealt with. Quite a comprehensive engineering and complex task to do this. As said, Fehmarn Belt tunnel, connecting to the rest of Europe, and just a short view into where we have all the other connections with the infrastructure, the network 10T, as we call it, into the rest of Europe. So for us, it makes sense to have this kind of shortcut into the rest of Europe and connect faster to that. The contract itself is what we call design and build. So a number of contractors has been assigned on board and doing the actual design and execution. And our role in Femern or Sonn Belt is dealing with the monitoring and supervision of the project and make sure that everything runs according to schedule and requirements and so forth. Just to give you a small idea of where we are right now, not all contracts have been signed yet. But this is a subset of all the actors, the participants and companies working on the various contracts on this. So just to say here, we have a need for coordinating information across all the different contracts, and it is very different companies that we are facing here with different levels of skill sets. Also, when it comes to user privacy and the BIM in real life. So why IFC? Why is it important for us? It plays a role in our strategy. It is important because we want to utilize, we can see a benefit for us. I will start up here with, or show here a statement from our CEO, pointing out that the data is the key here for us. It's nothing new, so to speak, but it's on the screen saying that we know systems are changing. We know software is changing, but data is what we need to be some kind of static, and we can reuse that. And this is part of our strategy to make sure that we, on a project like this, we had on Femern, there's a lot of people, a lot of companies. We need to ensure that we actually can share the data across all different areas, phases, and so forth. And then, as also mentioned in the beginning, we are an operator. We need to make sure that the data we get in can actually be changed or transferred into our operational business and into our operational and maintenance system in order to ensure a what we can say easy startup. The testing and commissioning. The better we are to start this, the faster we can start it. This is money in our pocket. And then our management came up with this strategy saying that we are heading up against a usage of a digital twin, a predictive twin. This is where we're going. The path is set in that direction. So I think this is a very familiar process that well known to most of you in the BIM process, that we have all these different kind of phases. We want to ensure, I'll just click down here, ensure that the data is as much as possible consistent throughout our phases, and the shift between phases. We all know that it's very familiar that when you go from one phase to another, you drop a lot of data. We want to make sure that this is kept to the best of our ability. And of course, the digital twin is an ultimate goal for us. We are not there yet, but we have started the path. Just another representation of the same thing, just to give you an idea of different kind of software that we're dealing with right now. Some of them are not even known yet. We need to make sure that all the data, one thing is collecting, another thing is to validate before we actually go into operation and maintenance, starting with the commissioning and testing. So there's a huge job being done right now in order to find out what is actually required here. How do we do this? And what kind of system are we going to adapt to? Some things are given, so we are running a specific operational maintenance system. This is given. We have to deliver for this system, and we need to adapt to that. Coming back to this, just to say that this strategy, this digital process we have within our project process fits directly into our value chain. So there are phases, as you can see, there are phases before we actually start constructing, just to say that we already here start gathering information before we actually start the project. Now, this is important for us to make sure that we actually can utilize and maybe base it on the same data structure, same data model. So in terms of IFC, what do we require here? We want, of course, some reliable data, and I call it exchange carrier. Something that is software independent. It supports interoperability. It has to be neutral. It has to be a standard data model that we can utilize throughout all the phases. And then, of course, there's a number of other information areas that we need to include in this transfer based on the project. What is required? How can we actually adapt this or include this in our data transfer? So a number of things is in play in order to get to this point and have a smooth transition into our operation and maintenance. And of course, we see IFC as a pretty good tool, software transfer format to do this, help us. It cannot stand alone, but we are pretty close. I said 100%, we're not 100%, but we are pretty close to have a reliable set, software set or standard format that can help us in that process. And for the infrastructure area, with the release of 4.3, it has certainly made some huge steps in that direction. Just to give you a small idea of what kind of information we have in a project like this in different areas, it's very simplified. So some various systems, and of course IFC is in the 3 model segment. We have some asset management, we have some document management, there's some GIS, there are some various data lakes that we need to adapt to and include. And for the project, we have created a number of standards that we are using on the project, which we have set as a requirement for the contractors to follow. And what the idea for us is that we actually use or try to set up the same data model to utilize in the different areas. You cannot adapt everything, but it's the basic of the data structure that you keep intact or try to keep stable throughout the process. And this is what we are trying to do here. Just a small example of a tunnel segment where we have added some classification to all our objects. Of course, everything has to be delivered in BIM models, and everything has to be classified. All objects has to be classified and delivered within the IFC format for this project. So, as I said in the beginning, IFC is already mandated. We are living the mandate. We are trying to adapt as much as we can. As I said before, having a mandate is one thing. It's important, very important, that somebody like the government or state authority sets these kind of requirements. But we have a job as an organization to find out to what level we can utilize this. We are all different, and we all work in different ways. So in order to get the best out of it, you need to find your own way, your own path as an organization. And we are so lucky, so our management, Sund & Bælt, Femern Sund & Bælt, acknowledge the open BIM and support us in that approach. So we continue that path. We have it within our strategy, and that is also very important that you have that kind of backup from your management side. So IFC on the project is a prerequisite. It has to be delivered in IC format on all our deliverables from the different contractors. That is given. We acknowledge, or we believe IFC supports the company digital strategy, leading into what our ultimate goal is the digital twin and the way we are going to use that. I said before, we are not there yet. We have started the process. We need to find our feet in how are we going to, in an operation maintenance setup, going to utilize a digital twin. But again, we have started the process. And then we believe that IFC plays a key role in improving our productivity. So in order to have not IFC alone, but it's a major part in this, to have a standardized set of data, data structure, a data model that we actually can put more or less directly into our operation and maintenance. So the faster we can get into operation, that's beneficial for us. And as I said before, money in the bank. And then we believe also that IFC will improve or create the data relationship that can improve or enabling our information management much better. And then we now have this great opportunity with the Femern project to have an opportunity to accelerate some of our digital projects and develop further. And it's when those kind of large projects come into place into the organization, it gives us the room, the space to develop further. And this is what we are trying to utilize to the best of our ability on this project. I think that was the last slide here.